Good.
Call the meeting to order. Budget Committee meeting, September 30th, 2025. We have a quorum. Kevin will be joining us shortly. And pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any public input? Oh, before we start, you are gonna be the alternate for, Bob is gonna be the alternate today and be able to vote, for Dave on matters. And so we should get you sworn in quickly.
Do you recommend that I be the alternate for any time that he's not
Yeah,
present?
why not just do it once now forever? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, let's get Ken.
Do you need a budget committee to decide?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't really think so. You're a selectman appointee, right? So we don't have that. But I don't think we have a decision.
No, it's just you're the appointee.
You're an appointee from the selectmen.
Okay.
All right?
I'll be right back.
All good?
I'll go.
You're official? All right. Any public input? There being none. We have the minutes from September 16th, 2025. They were in your packet that came out on Thursday. Anybody have any thoughts or comments?
I have one comment.
Yep.
Interesting to note that Chairman Roriston noted that the materials related to RSA 3211 application had been sent late Monday afternoon and had not been timely for review by the Budget Committee members. Amazing foresight on your part, sir.
Happened twice.
I make a motion to approve as written. The minutes of Tuesday, September 16th, 25.
Can I get a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0 vote.
Abstain.
One abstention. Yep. Okay. So, I have a couple of comments, comments and questions. One is, I've asked Ashley to keep a list at each meeting of open requests. And that list will be available to all of us, and I'll have the date the request was made, then, who the request was of, and then the date it gets provided to the committee. And that way, I'm not gonna go through, keep my list running here. Ashley can keep that list running. So, anybody has any comments or thoughts on that? Okay. And then the second thing I would like to ask for, what's the best way to go about getting the capital reserve account balances? And the reason I need them is because we're gonna be creating the CIP report that shows how much we should put aside and how much is in the accounts and things like that, so I can actually see what's in those reserve
I
balances.
think it's just a matter of running a report.
Comes from the trustees of the trust fund.
So you don't have it here?
No. They would have had interest over like the last 9 months, capital reserve funds.
So you never see that at all during nobody has sees that, it's just.
You never see the balances on any of the capital reserve funds.
Capital reserve, no,
Never.
because, well, we typically expend capital reserves.
I make requests of the trustees.
So the trustees of the trust funds meet once a month. That's fine.
Who are they?
Me,
You're a trustee?
Yeah.
So maybe we can just get a,
Keith is the treasurer and he is very, very organized and
okay, good. All right. Anybody have any other comments?
I have, so this is for later on, but I got it printed out now, copies for everybody. This is a little comparison of transfer stations between Ossipee and Justinboro. Something to ruminate about as we approach the transfer station budget.
Sorry. No problem.
Hello.
Time's perfect.
Again,
Okay,
not a rush, but
yeah,
good to have in the back of your mind.
well, it's appropriate for when we come to discuss that budget. So I'm glad you brought it up front. Thank you. Okay. So we're gonna move on to budget items for approval. So, on this, I think the open question we had was legal planning. And then also, I think this is gonna be a discussion, but I think that the budget committee would like to have an amount that would allow us to retain counsel. I know you would have gone around last time.
Yes. I don't know what more to say. Does any need to say anything else?
Well, could we make it more than that? More than a
Oh,
dollar?
certainly. I actually put in $100 as a placeholder. It seems to me that one of our selectmen, again, had an issue with one of our budget committee members talking to town council, and because we don't have a legal line. So if we had a legal line, that might assuage his concerns a bit.
And we also then be able to have our own counsel that would separately represent.
Absolutely. If we independent, like, for example, I know the cemetery trustees have an independent council, not town council. So, yeah, I could easily appropriate more money if we wish. I'm not sure how much should be appropriated, we could discuss that.
Did we have a thought on how much?
What's the account for charge right now? Is he at an hourly rate?
Close to 275
$275 an hour?
approximately.
I think that maybe we should just go with, planning and zoning. I know cemetery doesn't have a lot, but, legal for planning and zoning, they have a $5,000. We could put it at $2,500.
Reduce them by 2,500 and go to 2,500 for the budget committee?
Putting in $100 is not going to get us anywhere. Putting in 1,000, I think would be, if there was an issue, I think we would get $1,000 very quickly. I'm thinking that 2,500 would be more, it's on overland, we're not in a planning board situation. And, and I also don't want to, I want to put in 10,000, because I don't think that's reasonable. I'm thinking 2,500 based on, generally speaking, what attorneys cost per hour, that would not be an unreasonable figure.
How do you propose we're going to manage this? In other words, if one of us wanted to call the attorney through you,
I think it would be the budget
or
committee.
go to the committee first?
The committee would first decide they
So
want to
this
see
would just be
separate advice.
by the committee, then not
Correct.
individuals.
Yeah, no individual. It would be the committee's advice, the committee would then appoint people to speak to council.
2,500 is almost like a day's worth of work.
Yes, 10 hours.
Yeah.
Basically. That's what I see. Okay. And do you want to, does anybody want to adjust the legal planning? Because because I mean, I haven't spent that money for. Unless there's something big coming up, I mean, we haven't, you know, since 22, 23, 24, and I think 25, our road was nothing.
Or just split the difference between 2,500 on them and 2,500 on the budget.
We would need to have a new line added.
I support, adding budget line for budget committee. But I was just notified that the selectmen would have to approve to add a line to the budget to carry this. So, I'll support it when it comes along, but I think it should be deferred.
We'll table this until next meeting.
Table this and then the selectmen will reopen it. That way. I appreciate that.
Right? Direct assistance? Any discussion on it? Yeah. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve direct assistance on 4442 in the amount of $8,250.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. 4583, patriotic purposes, Legion Special.
I'd make a motion to approve patriotic purposes in the amount of $1,750.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. 4589, gifts and donations. Anybody have any comments, thoughts?
I'd make a motion to approve 4589 in the amount of $800.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 4711, debt service. Anybody have any comments? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve 4711. Second.
Is that a second, Kevin?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Unanimous. 4721, interest. Can I get a motion?
Motion that we accept line item 4721, the amount of $7,655.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. And then finally, 4152, assessing.
Contract.
Yeah, it's a contract. It's the last year of the contract.
Make a motion to approve 4152 assessing in the amount of $45,000.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Budget items for consideration. guess my first question is, what color do the selectmen select? What color are we using? 3.2? And what date's that from?
It was just a few weeks ago. Early September?
So are we using that consistently?
Yes.
So we use from September to September?
It's as close as we can get to budget season.
But we've used that, so in 2024, we used September to September. So we're using this 1 year,
Essentially,
same,
yes.
same time period, okay, and that's 3.2. And that's CPI,
Yes.
New England,
Yes.
right? Do you want to explain what's going on, or either Audrey or? Bob?
Yeah, I can run through this. I'll give it back to you. Town administrator, administrative secretary, each COLA plus a step. Selectmen, no increase. Administrative overtime is the same. Clerical assistants, we upped the hours because of the additional workload. And moderator change is only because we have more elections this year than we did last year.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, and this pertains to every employee. So do all the employees go through a performance review?
They're supposed to. It doesn't always happen, but they're supposed to. And the ones that we have given steps to in this case have gone through review.
A performance review?
Yes.
And there's an hourly increase anticipated from the town administrator, right? It's gonna go to 37 hours versus 35.
Yes.
And it was 35 the original.
Yes.
And the same with the clerical assistant.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. She's gonna be 15 hours, right? Because she was probably half that before.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody have any thoughts on this? Okay. Election. The only one I have a question on is the postage one, which is not a big deal. I'm just curious as to how we got to, where we got to on a number. Because it just came out saying it's not increased for 2026.
Yeah, I don't have David's notes, but we do have more elections this year, so everything is reflected in that.
There are some amendments to this done with
It's irrelevant.
Yeah. So I was just kind of curious that that's what the other thing, but I'm not worried about it. Okay. Anyone else have any other questions on it?
No.
Okay. We got general government. Any questions on this?
Level funded from last year.
And then we have animal control, which I believe there's some, it's been the same for a number of years. I'm assuming I think there's some debate on something going on, I'm not sure.
I would recommend that the budget committee table this because we're going to be recommending a change to the selectmen.
Okay. Good. Okay, table. Okay. All right. Police department update.
Okay.
So I just want to give you one update before you go.
Sure.
So I reached out to NHMA today, to the legal group there. And the guy called me when I was about 3/4 of the way up Old Knob.
Took a minute to catch your breath.
Yeah, I took the call, as I was up there, and basically I would say he was non-committal on anything, didn't want to really be giving advice.
As you would expect the attorney to be.
Yeah, as I was sort of kind of in
What guy is this?
Jonathan, New Hampshire Municipal Association, they provide free legal advice.
No, I
to
don't know.
members, yeah. Jonathan, I was name written down somewhere. Anyway, so he basically, if I distill the conversation down, he said two things. One thing he said was that given where we are in the year, given that it's a police station, that it's a capital project, he thought it was very unlikely that DRA would provide would provide permission to do this. So he was going to send a town meeting. He did, however, say, and he was pretty clear, that he really saw no issue with filing a 3211, as long as the budget committee was comfortable with that. And he said basically the budget committee's responsibility was to make sure that it complied, it was an unusual emergency, and that the facts in the letter were correctly stated, and facts were correctly stated in the application, and that the funds were being used appropriately. Similar to you were going to approve the budget. Those were the three things that he said were important for the budget committee to do. So I think it was worthwhile sharing that information with everybody, so we had it out there. And I'm going to let Bob let you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, we all agree that this information that's coming out needs to be shared with the public. And since it's my turn to write the Tuftonboro Times article, that deadline is Friday, so I want to submit something Friday. I think that's the best way to get the word out to the people, because the Tuftonboro Times gets delivered to every mailbox in Tuftonboro. So I wrote an article, which is police station funding heavy. Rob's had a chance to read my draft. I don't know if he shared it with the rest of you, but I gave him permission to share my draft. And just remember that it is only a draft. The outcome of tonight's meeting may change the wording in this. So as you know, I'm not going to read the letter, but I'm just going to review the facts. Town meeting in March of 2021, $757,000 was appropriated by the voters to build this police station. They gave us the go-ahead that they wanted this done. The crux of the issue here is that at the end of that warrant article, the non-lapsing wording, or this amount shall be non-lapsing or expire at such and such a date, which typically would be 5 years, was not included in the language. That's what got us to where we are today. The selectmen did not realize that it had lapsed. All the selectmen that were on board between then and now came to the same conclusions, and we made our decisions based on that. We believed that the money was good and we were good to go. It wasn't until town meeting time this past year that it was brought to our attention by the budget committee that this money was in question as lapsing. It's not the issue that we don't have the money to do the police station. We do. All the money is there and available. To the point of the $757,000, or what's left of that, has lapsed. So there are three ways to correct this problem. One is to go to the DRA with the budget committee's approval. That's the 3211 that we've been talking about. And the other is by having a special town meeting, which wouldn't happen until sometime in December to get that ball rolling, or to wait until town meeting, which is in March. And I think it's very important to understand that one of the reasons behind the selectmen making this decision, or one of the reasons is, number one, the selectmen believe that we are acting at the will of the voter. The voters want this police station, and they've demonstrated that by voting for money on multiple occasions. Number two is that this 3211 is the most expeditious way of getting the authority to spend this money again. If we wait until the special town meeting, or if we wait until the March town meeting, there's a chance that we could incur additional costs from our vendors and our contractors to complete the police station. Right now, it's expected, we're projecting that we're going to come in $100,000 under budget. Okay? We don't want to lose that $100,000. Granted, it's a projection, but we don't want to lose it. We've already kicked this can down the road for multiple years, which is why we're here today doing this. And again, the selectmen take full responsibility. It was an error getting this warrant article out by missing one sentence in the original warrant article. So we're asking the budget committee to support the selectmen's request to go to the DRA, explaining how we got here today, and we respectfully ask the budget committee's support to move forward with this project. We can have a public hearing soon. We could have a public hearing on Monday night, which I know that you want the public involved, but my mind says that you're not going to get the word out to the town. We're not going to be able to get the word out to the town and have a sufficient amount of people that will understand what's going on, be able to voice their opinion. We think that the most expeditious way to do this and keep the police station ball rolling is to apply under 3211 with your support and make this happen.
So let's, I think it would be good to clarify some facts, just so we're all dealing with the same paper, all working with the same deck. Right now, that $723,000, which is left in that account, is not appropriate, right? It's sitting in unassigned fund balance. And I just want to confirm something, that the amount that's in this letter that refers to the MS 535 of $1,262,000, that does not include the 723, right?
That's right.
That's before the accountants made the adjustment. So in addition to the 1262, there's 723 sitting separately listed, right? So we do have
About 1.9.
1985, okay? That is the amount, right? So the question here, in my book, is there's obviously a lot of noise that plays through this, through this whole thing. The voters did not appropriate the money. It was known in March that there was an issue, right? And so the issue I have is that now we're sitting in October or September 30th. I don't want to exaggerate. September 30th, and we're dealing with it now when in effect it should have been dealt with back in April. We should have done this letter in April before ground was broken, before anything happened, right? I mean, that was really the right time to have done it. And so, and the reason why we have an emergency now is because we made a decision the town made a decision back in April to dig a hole in the ground and start the work, even though they knew they didn't have the money. Or they strongly realized they didn't have the money. It was definitely an open issue, right, at that point in time.
The selectmen knew that they had money available to start the police station, and we believed that we were acting on the will of the voter by starting the police station as expeditiously as possible.
No, I know you say that. And I also believe you were acting on the will of the voter. I don't think we sort of disagree on the will of the voter piece of this. I think the voters, if we go back to March meeting in 2026, I think the voters are going to, 95 are going to put their hand up in the same 40 are gonna put their hand down. I think that's how the vote's gonna go. But I can't make that prediction, right? That's my issue. I don't wanna make that prediction. So, because I don't wanna take away the legislative authority of the town. So for me, the issue is that the money is not being appropriated. The only way to get it appropriated is to either do this DRA, special town meeting, or wait until March. So those are the three things we have the choices we have. So I'm gonna, my issue is that we're sitting here in October waiting to do this. And I think the emergency's been kind of self-inflicted to a large degree. Having said that, what I don't want to do is remove a chance for us to legally fix the problem, right? To legally fix the problem with full disclosure to DRA that we as a budget committee would be comfortable signing off on. So based on that, I think I need to have some other people express where they are at.
Rob, I'm not sure I'm picking up exactly what you're saying here. You're concerned about going forward to the DRA at this time is what exactly?
So it's a bunch of things.
Okay.
Okay. One is that we created our own emergency because
Okay.
we started this construction knowing full well we didn't have all the money to pay for it.
We dropped the ball. I understand.
Yeah, so we did it, but we did it, it happened, the town did it. It went along, and now when they got to a point where there's a point of no return, they're now suddenly going to DRA.
Yeah.
So the budget committee is responsible for making sure that this is an emergency, right?
Going forward now, yes.
Yeah, but it wasn't, we haven't,
But our hands were tied. I mean, we weren't part of it back in April, so that's the reason why we didn't.
but we kind of should have been.
All right, go ahead. So
Right,
continue.
so the money wasn't correctly appropriated. We're sitting now, I don't think that, we have to determine whether this is an emergency or not. That's part of what our role is, right? And do we think this actually is an emergency? What is the cost of, finishing up our money? My other concern is, and this is the one that I kind of feel very exposed on, and it is, it relates to, so municipal, the budget, RSA 32 governs appropriations and expenditures, right? And you can go through 32.7. They lapse at the end of the year, so we know that the 2021 wasn't there. 32.8, you can't expend or cause to be expended more money than that was appropriated, right? So right now, we've spent 1.4 million, or committed that, against 1.2 million. So, let me finish. I know we're gonna go. Okay. It goes to the 32.9, no municipal officials will pay or agree to pay or incur any liability for any sum in excess of the appropriation. So that covers these contracts we've all entered into. And so I think we're going to DRA with a set of facts and circumstances that we're pleading guilty on right out of the gate. And that really worries me for what the impact of that is. And so, and then my other side of this is, I know the police station wants to be built. I know the voters want it built. I know it's going to cost more money to delay. And then what's the downside of going to DRA if we open up our kimono completely? So that's a dilemma I think we face as a.
I think part of going through the DRA process 3211 is full transparency. I think full transparency is the best way to let people understand what's going on. Number one, going this route included the budget committee in the process. We could have gone right for a special town meeting, or waited till town meeting in March, which would have bypassed the budget committee completely. We chose to go through 3211 because it included the budget committee. We wanted full transparency. We admit our mistake.
So I agree that you have been transparent. I don't have any doubt about that. I think this has been transparent. refund it to the committee because it's sort of want to get this issue solved. But I think this is a transparent process. I'm gonna make some more changes to this letter because things didn't get in there. But I think it's transparent. I'm gonna let somebody else speak.
Transparency is a wonderful thing. So I'm looking at a letter here that I presume would be sent to Lindsay Stepp, the commissioner, and all that. And it says here, the town council attended the budget committee's next meeting on August 19th to present and discuss the process. That's blatantly not true. I walked into this room at 6:15, anticipating the budget committee's meeting at 6, and was told there was a non-meeting going on, so I sat down. Now, if I may, RSA 91A, colon 3, letter I, L, under non-public meetings lists consideration of legal advice provided by legal counsel, either in writing or orally, to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present. That tells me that that non-meeting was actually subject to 91A, and nothing concerning 91A was ever followed as far as protocol goes. That, to me, is a violation of 91A. So, as I continue, it says, after much discussion, the Budget Committee and the Selectmen penned this letter with the detailed events. Well, we haven't done any such thing. And then, when we once again have another sheet to sign, if this letter is to go, as it should, I can't possibly sign this and perjure myself. And then we come to the issue where the New Hampshire Municipal Association says, while the town administrator or administrative assistant, business manager, or other similar titles has no similar authority in referring to town manager, but instead works under the direct supervision of the Board of Selectmen, which retains all its statutory authority. So my question is, did the Board of Selectmen read this letter before we got it? And did you approve it, even knowing or not knowing that it had falsehoods in it?
I believed it to be factual. August 19th, that was the meeting that the attorney came here. And sat right in this chair.
And she did not attend the Budget Committee meeting.
I interpreted that letter to be written in anticipation of securing an approval that night.
So can I make
I thought it was an overstep.
Can I make a suggestion on the letter? I don't think we should debate
Yeah.
the content of the letter, because we can fix that guy. I'm happy to we should fix everything that's in there. I took a crack at putting because I thought it'd be good to lay out all the facts. As I saw them, I missed that point. It's a good point you raised, I missed it. So that's on me too.
I'm not saying don't vote no, I'm saying we need to have that letter be correct.
Yeah.
Before anybody votes,
This
if
is-
anyone does vote.
This is a draft. This letter can be modified.
Right,
That's why I'm bringing up points.
yeah. So we would modify that, Chris.
So, getting back to my reason why I was asking you all those questions. So, the ultimate transgression on our part is to have paid out, literally paid out more money than we have. Have we done that yet?
No, I don't.
No.
Well,
Not committed.
no,
I'm
what-
asking.
But hold on,
Okay.
that is the ultimate, but that isn't, I think you have to go back and look at RSA 32.9.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, I think,
And I picked up on the words committed, I understand that.
yeah.
Because the contract looks like a commitment, I understand that. But, again, the actual transgression is if we pay out more than we've actually encumbered in our salary.
So can you hang on a second?
Yeah.
To that, you want that answer?
Well, not quite yet. So, what I'm suggesting, the question is, have we laid out more? Yes, give me the answer.
Okay, as of right now, how much money has been either requested and or paid out against the $500,000? How much more was there than the $500,000 that you were there? Because we've got to take the 757 out. We've got to take, because that's not, we can't use that. And actually, it's 723 because in 22 and 23, money was spent out of that.
Yes, between the 757 and the 723, the monies that were spent went directly to the architect.
Right. So I need to take that 723. I'm taking out 723,000. Right. We don't have the grant. Right.
Right.
So then we had $500,000 to spend.
Right.
that we know we have that money
We
right
have
now,
1.2 and change that we have available to us to spend legally.
including the money that we're talking about.
Including the 500,000 that was voted at the last town meeting.
Okay,
Not including the 723,000, that's a question. If you add that, we have over $1.9 million to go to the police station.
so what have we asked for and or spent to date?
What have they asked for and have we paid?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, okay.
We
To
have,
date,
well,
I know you have the contracts and you have that list.
Let me tell you where I'm going on this. I read the termination clauses. And if we have not paid out more than we should have paid out, recognizing that $723,000 is not available, then the cardinal transgression can be avoided by issuing a termination notice at this time, and at the same time, forwarding our paperwork to the DRA, because that is the emergency. We will be forced to live up to that termination if we don't get DRA to agree to it. That's the way I look at this.
But it's not an emergency.
It is an emergency. We have to terminate the contract. And I see that as justification. And given the alternatives that we have, which don't look very good to me right now.
Well, unfortunately, and I'm not on board with this letter at all, and it's got several items in it. And Bob, I know you've been very good, and you've been very transparent, and you've been very, I think we all have the same thing in mind. And this all could have probably been done a little differently, but the can continues to get kicked down the road due to errors, omissions, and just not everybody being on the same page. Because this could have all been done in a different manner. And, the comfort level needs to be, we have to get the majority of the budget committee. What number draft is this? I think it's 2 or 3. It's kind of irrelevant at this point because, if you're interested in the budget committee and you really are kind of saying, hey guys, we really, really, really would like you guys to be on board and to be able to submit this and be comfortable submitting this emergency to the DRA. I don't understand why we can't get something that we're comfortable signing instead of something being put in front of us that is not necessarily factually correct. I know you want to be transparent, but this is not doing it for us. There's a reason why it's not doing it for us. So we need to just now this about it being legal and not legal and the whole thing. We've got to get it better. And that's so then it's going to be another month.
I can respond to 2 things here. Number one, this is a chart of expenditures, and
Yeah.
do you have that?
I think Gary needs to know.
I need to know.
Okay, so you have it. Fair enough. The other one,
It's the same as we had the last meeting.
Yeah, I have that.
Have you signed any more contracts since then? Okay.
the other thing that's changed, or can change, is that letter. That letter is a one-sided draft from us. I'm open to accepting recommended changes. If that would help you feel more comfortable submitting that letter to the DRA.
So I took a crack, I got the letter, I don't know, on Monday or sometime, I don't know when I got it, and I turned it over in 24 hours, and I sent it back with what I thought needed to be in there, and I didn't spend a lot of time wordsmithing the writing, and I missed Mr. Pike's valid points, I missed those, just so.
It happens.
That's the reality. So I think that, we can go through it. This is the internal struggle for me as the budget committee. I'm having a hard time figuring out whether because whether this is whether we're gonna be in a hole with DRA, the bigger hole than if we just wait until town meeting and this gets approved and it costs us more. But, I hear your judgment that what you'd rather do is get all the facts on the table, lay it out in as detailed as, so everybody in this room is comfortable signing it, right? And that's what you'd like to get to, and then we move forward on that.
Absolutely. It's the most expeditious way to keep this ball rolling. It gives transparency, full transparency through the budget committee, not around the budget committee. And by, using the Tucking Road Times as a tool, it's a tool to get the word out to the people, which is what you want. You insist on the people being part of this.
And the other point, I think, that you also need to understand and accept is that basically on these funds that we've committed that are above the amount that's out there for everybody, and then the selectmen have exposure on that.
Well, it hasn't been said at this table tonight yet, but, and I know that I told you this in the discussion the other day, that we have exit clauses in all of those contracts. We hate to exercise them, we really do, but we have exit clauses.
Well, what I was trying to lead us into is that if we had a termination notice, by termination notice, I mean the subject matter of the letter of termination, but the body of the letter to the contractor to explain to him, what our cash position is, and we need to know his cash position, and we want him to go up to the point where we can cover his costs legally, but at that point, stop. Okay? And that, I believe, let's assume hypothetically that he gives us a date that the money that we have, that we can provide, would get him, let's say hypothetically, through middle of November. Parallel to that, we go to DRA and we get this approval. And I say the emergency is the fact that we have to issue a termination letter based on a technicality that we screwed up.
That we already would have issued.
Yeah. Huh?
That we already would have issued to everybody.
Yeah.
I think this whole thing, I think the reality is that we're going down. I think it's kind of an optical, this termination clause is an optical issue.
Mhm.
I think the reality is that we have committed to these people. This amount, I understand we can issue it, but I just think right now we're sitting in a place where I want to see how we issue to all these Tucking Borough contractors.
If we issue a termination letter that explains the reason for the partial termination, inasmuch that we cannot provide all the funds that are written into the contract, and that we want the work to go as far as it can. To me, I don't see that as being a dishonorable thing or contrary to the spirit of the contract. It's in keeping with the structure of the contract. We're taking the structure of the contract and we're explaining how it has to work for the time being until we get this approval from DRA.
For example, we've committed a contractor to doing the septic system. Septic system has a value of, I don't know, $25,000-ish, something like that. We don't have to do that this year. We can postpone that until springtime. It's things like that we have committed to that can wait. We're going to continue to spend up until the approximate $1.2 million. We're going to go as far as we can until we reach that point that we can't spend any more money.
Let's deal with that. Let's deal with this, Tom, because I think I think the reality is we've got to figure out. I'd like to hear from you where we are, what your thoughts are on this.
Well, the last time we had gotten together, you had read the definition of an emergency, and that was very helpful. Do you have to have that, Andy? Just as a reminder.
And where did you find the definition of an emergency? Because I've got 3211 here, and it doesn't define what an emergency is. So that tells me it's subjective. And if emergency is subjective, then you have the will to declare an emergency.
Can I have that back?
Yes.
So I'd like to speak to that.
Yes, please.
To get right to the meat of the matter, emergency expenditures, it's all listed here. We have replies from someone. Do you know those replies are from, Audrey?
I do.
Could you share that with us? Who replied to that?
Selectmen with town council review.
Okay. So it says here, right, number 3. This exception applies only when an unusual circumstance arises. DRA generally does not grant after the fact approval if there was a reasonable time and opportunity to apply. And then from the NHMA workshop guidance, it says it is not a tool to correct lapsed appropriations, or bookkeeping errors, both of which is what we're dealing with. I don't see how it can be anything but black and white.
So Guy, this is the core issue, whether we're prepared, laying down all the facts that actually state what you've just said, that in effect, whether as a budget committee member, we're prepared to sign something that lays that all out, that says that, and let DRA,
But the language that he just read is not in 3211. This is 3211 in its entirety.
No, but there's precedent and there's guidance from New Hampshire Municipal Association, training courses and things like that. And so that's where that comes from. And I'll tell you how I did it and why I did it. I did it from ChatGPT. So
Which is not always correct.
let me finish.
Sorry.
Okay. I did it
Apologies,
from,
you gave me the same courtesy.
yeah, I did it from ChatGPT, right? So full disclosure, AI, I got check, it's number 5, so it's the most advanced version. I printed that out and I gave it to the lawyer, saying, hey, this is what we got. Tell me what does it? And so what really came back to me that I find a little disturbing is that her response back saying there really isn't nothing. And by the way, I don't really do this. It's not that I don't do 3211 stuff. I do other stuff. So I find that to be kind of a little out there. But anyway.
I feel like that's an admission by town council that she's incompetent on this particular issue. Am I wrong in feeling
Well,
that?
just that she doesn't have the experience.
All right, well, it's certainly not confident.
Right.
I was the wrong word, I'm sorry. Confident about this issue, so in reality, of no use to us at all.
When I originally called DRA on this issue, they said to me they use the same standard, that the commissioner will use the same standard as the Superior Court uses, which will be the same standard that you use when you apply for a special town meeting. And that standard is application standard. Does an emergency exist? The courts do not recognize cost overruns, bid increases, or lapsed appropriations as emergencies. They basically look at, the fire engine had, one example in one of the cases was that the fire engine had a crack right down the middle of it. One of their two fire engines had a crack down the middle. It was taken off, it was not allowed to be used anymore, and they had an emergency because they needed, otherwise half their coverage was gone. So that was an emergency. At the foreseeability at March 2025 town meeting, I think we know where that was. And serious injury if delayed, and they're not talking about financial inconvenience. They're talking about people dying and buildings exploding and things like that. So I mean, that's sort of the standard. I get to let me tell you where I go, because I think this is where I struggle on. Where I go to is, what do we actually have to lose if we apply to DRA? Right? If we send a letter with everything in it, what do we actually have to lose?
Right. That is the question.
Yeah, that's-
What is the fallout if they turn around and say?
We increase our exposure, how much exposure do we have?
Right.
Well, and let me add one other point. If we issue a termination notice, a warning to the contractor, and DRA says no, then we're protecting the town's interest because we will not be on the hook for more money than we can actually pay. If you don't issue that termination notice now, it's an open-ended thing as far as the contract is concerned. So think about that too.
Well, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here, because I was here for that now illegal, non-public meeting. The attorney sat here and told us, I am 100% confident that that is gonna go, the verbiage is, emergency, it's subjective, da-da-da-da-da-da. We provide her with information, we request feedback from her, get nothing. Finally, at the 11th hour, we get feedback. She's not experienced in this. Yes, we could submit this to DRA. You just talked to NHMA today, correct? And his non-legal, non-binding opinion was, it's so late in the year and it's not an emergency, DRA is probably not going to go for it. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, he probably has more experience and he's probably seen this on more than one occasion. So, being the devil's advocate, how long is it gonna take for us to get something that we're comfortable signing? You have a deadline of Friday, correct?
To get the article in the Tufton Borough Times.
To get the article into Tufton Borough
To get
Times.
to get the
Right.
the correct facts to the people.
To get the correct facts to the people. So, this thing has been sitting and spinning for months now. It's been sitting and spinning for months, trying to get us to all be on the same page. You know, at the 11th hour, we've gotten some very disturbing opinions. You know, we finally get the thing from legal. You've talked to NHMA. You know, at this point, is it better to have just have the special town meeting, because it's got to go to DRA. It's got to go to DRA.
Yes.
And did anybody ask how long of a turnaround time before you get an answer?
I'd like to ask one question. Audrey, I have a vague recollection, I don't know if I'm correct or not. Did we not ask the budget committee for an earlier meeting to bring facts to them? Did we want to schedule a meeting prior to August 19th?
No.
Yeah, well,
No.
absolutely
No.
not. And
All right, that's fine, that's all I need to know.
Let me ask the question, let me open up the floodgates for 1 second. And I'm not gonna get on my high horse and ride on this. But one of the things that did happen here was that I came right after town meeting and spoke to the town administrator, saying, hey, we have an issue with this warrant article. And I heard nothing. We came to the April 15th meeting, said, hey, let's go. She said, I'll get to DRA, we'll back to you. I'll get to DRA tomorrow, we'll back to you. Crickets, absolutely crickets until August 19th. So that fact pattern is very hard for us to swallow, to be honest. Yet all the stuff went on. And I know that on like April sometime, you guys met with council, you went to legal session with them. So there was a bunch of information was going on. There was no feedback to us. We weren't according to the root back then. So what I want to do, Bob, though, and I'll go with my chest, is put that all behind us, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is what's best for the town. And so what I think we need to figure out here, if we need to figure out before we spend much more time spinning our wheels on this, if we can change this letter to a place where everybody's happy with the content, why, let's answer the question for ourselves, why we wouldn't sign it. That's a question we need to answer for ourselves. Right, that's the question.
I agree. I think that we need to move forward. That's the only direction that we can go is move forward.
And following what you're saying, the only alternative we have to that is to limit our financial exposure in the short run and wait till town meeting. And at town meeting, you're just talking about another new warrant replacing the old one.
Well,
There's no more DRA, I mean, it's.
Exactly.
You're saying, once we execute the clauses and once DRA says no, that's gonna be the logic, that's the next domino. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that we, as I see it, we either send a letter that we're all happy with and take our chances, but I would still issue a termination clause for the time being, because we just cannot go beyond the point that we don't have authority.
Well, just to, let me speak to that. Let me speak to that. We have no problem,
Right,
not spending the money that we're not allowed to spend.
okay, that's right.
We're just not gonna
Yeah,
do it.
we understand that.
And if there's any money that we've committed to that we can trim off, that we can easily postpone until next year, like
Sure.
the septic system, things like that, we will.
But we wanna make sure the
terminate.
contractor is tuned into that.
Yes.
Okay. So, if we prepare the letter and send it off, that's one alternative. If we decide that we just wanna wait until, town meeting, so there's an exposure, the costs are gonna escalate, we still have to issue a termination clause, because we don't have enough money to get work to progress up to that point of town meeting. I mean, we just.
Yeah, construction.
It'll be sometime December,
Sometime
something
over
like
the winter,
that.
the construction will stop.
Yeah.
It will cease to.
So that's where we are. That's all I'm trying to say.
I'm just afraid of, costs.
Oh, and the other point I was
costs
trying to make is
escalating.
that if we do go to town meeting, if we get there, there's no more DRA. We're just, it's a new warrant, that's it.
So I agree, I guess I'm unclear, if the DRA goes ahead and says no.
It says no.
What is the fallout, where is the liability?
I don't think there's any
There's no
penalties involved. It just means that we go to the next
You go
step.
to- you go to town meeting.
Well, let me tell you what I think what the issues can be. Okay, so number one, I think that DRA could take selectmen did that, and so let's send something to take a look. The accountants are going to report that this is a violation in the report that comes out, so that's meant to happen. So I think we do bring more scrutiny on ourselves as a town. I think that, you know, to me as a budget committee, I always want to do the right thing, and I always want to make sure I follow the law and be, so to me, I'm struggling with this unusual circumstance. You know, there is literally no precedent, nothing, as the lawyer said, there's no precedent. That's very, I think these things are like hen's teeth. I mean, I don't think too many 3211, whatever this thing has happened. So, you know, do I think we're gonna get beaten? No. You know, is something bad's gonna happen? No, but I think those are the risks that we get more scrutiny for sure.
Right, so we get flagged.
From this, we get flagged, exactly. You know. So now, what's
Scrutiny can be a good thing. Transparency is a good thing. You know, there's nothing to hide here. It's just, you know, we're coming clean.
Well, from my standpoint, I appreciate the fact that you're sort of taking it on the chin, and there is full transparency, and that we're gonna go ahead and properly communicate this to the community. It sounds to me like, you know, you're kind of putting yourself on the hook as far as the selectmen is
The buck
concerned.
stops here.
Right.
With this decision.
And that's part of leadership. I think, in good faith, I don't know exactly what the voters would agree to. It does sound like that they would go right ahead and say, look, at the annual meeting, we want this thing to go ahead. We'll go ahead and approve it.
Yeah, particularly if the building is sitting out there weather tight, but completely undone in terms of the inside of it. I mean,
I think we're gonna end up at town meeting anyway. This is a 15 or 20% chance that it goes through. What I like about it was everything on paper. It sort of it cleanses. What I like about it, it sort of cleanses everything because it's all out there. You've told DRA it's out there. This will be available for public notice. The town will see it. Anybody who wants to see it can see it. And it sort of cleanses what happened and it sets the record straight for what did happen.
See, if it goes to DRA, DRA's gonna,
I want to hear, sorry.
if it goes to DRA's gonna go through everything. It's transparent. All this information is available to the public. These meetings have been available to the public. If anybody's watching, they know what's going on. To even further public exposure, we're putting it in the Tufton Borough Times. That gets every single mailbox in the town of Tufton Borough. I don't know how better we can get the word out. Even town meeting, 150 people show up at town meeting.
Yeah.
And our issue is it kicks the can down the road and could cost us money.
I think we're gonna be there anyway. I know you should know.
But we should let the DRA decide that.
Yeah, we got a dissenting view here. I've got somebody, so I want to understand where you're coming
Well,
from.
no, I mean, so, hear me out.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a month for you to get a letter to us because our next meeting is.
Well, I would, let's talk about that, but I hope we get done in less than a month.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at our track record. I'm looking at the facts and I'm looking at how things have been. Best case scenario, October 28th. Goes to the DRA and you don't have a timeline. The scorecard that we have best to go by now is a minimal passage rate. I mean, I got hen's teeth, I got 15 to 20%. I don't have any experience in that. That to me is not very positive. You yourself said, probably the voters, at town meeting are gonna vote for it. Of course they are. Of course they are. We're gonna be that close to having a special meeting in December that you would draft up and put in the Tufton Borough Times anyway. And I think, you're being transparent, are you gonna get a majority of the vote from the budget committee on a letter? You're not getting my vote right now, and you know why? Because the letter's not right. And if you come back with another letter and it's not right, you're not gonna get a majority vote. You're talking about kicking the can down the road. This is happening now. It's in the here and the now. And that's part of the problem. So, I don't wanna be a pessimist, but it's already gonna be the end of October. If you schedule a special town meeting for December, if we happen to get get this all done and tidied up by the beginning of November, the second week of November to DRA. I doubt, given the way our state government works, that somebody's gonna sit down and they're gonna look at it that day that they get it. I don't think so.
But, you know,
Don't forget that letter, that letter's a one-sided draft. You have the opportunity to put your own wording in, and I think that can be done pretty quickly.
But he's inputted he's gone back and forth several times, and it's not happening. That's
Yeah,
what
so,
I'm trying to
so,
get at.
so can I make a suggestion on this? I think this is a valid point. I'm happy to come and sit down here, so I'm not here for that October 16th meeting.
14.
14th meeting, so I was looking to.
Yeah, and I think it should be, you're the chair, you should be here.
So, but I would like to take the opportunity, if I think we have a consensus of people who will sign a letter here that they're comfortable with, that discloses everything, I would like to take the opportunity to get everybody's comments in the next 2 days. Gonna ask for those. And I will come and sit down here and bang this letter out with whoever I have to sit down with, and I'd like for a selectman to be here. So, and I'll do it at nighttime, whatever it has to get done. And then we can circulate it and then vote on it.
Would you be willing to call a special budget committee meeting, pull everybody together and
Yeah.
acknowledge and sign?
Yeah, I just want to go around the table and see, I want to hear the other dissenting views on this plan from here.
Well,
Chris, so would you sign, if you were happy with the content, would you sign it?
but that's the question.
No.
So you're not gonna sign it regardless?
Because of the history and because of what has happened and because of the fact that the budget committee pointed it out to, and it's not the original 2021 warrant article, the USDA grant.
I'm gonna say something about that. That is a problem. I agree with you.
Okay, money has already been spent against that, because that's why it's down to 723,000. And to everybody's point, you're right, it's an accounting error and it's a bookkeeping error. It's not an emergency, and it's not the original 2021 warrant article. I personally am not going to be speaking for the voters of the town. I think everybody is gonna pass it. I do not see that being a problem. But we're so far down the road now, we're already in, September 30th. But we're so far down the road, yeah, there's gonna be some cost possibly with it. But yeah, I'm not comfortable speaking for the voters because it's not the original warrant.
Rob, if we prepare a letter that has everything in it that we want, I will sign it.
So would you say you have an issue with the?
Well, I think that one of the details that's missing from this letter is not an overstatement, but the absence of a statement. We do have to reconcile the original warrant, which includes use of a grant, to what we're actually doing at present.
So that's being detailed in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
can speak to that for the
Okay,
table
but I think we
and
have to
those
make
that
it a
are
little
watching
clearer.
this video.
Yeah.
The fact that we put this out to bid on multiple occasions that included the grant put us way over budget. And that's why the can got kicked down the road. We got bids for $2.4 million, and we simply, that would be overspending the budget.
Yeah.
We couldn't. So we decided to take the approach of seeking bids ourselves, seeking out local contractors. That negated the use of the grant, okay? I was with us when we were making those decisions. Hold on, let me finish
The date
my
of that?
thought. Well, Dave came after. Dave replaced Guy.
No, the date of that.
Oh, the date, I thought you said Dave, I'm sorry.
No.
I don't know, it's in the minutes somewhere. We publicly discussed it. Lost my train of thought. What was the last thing I
Oh,
said?
you said enough. I think we understand.
No, I wasn't done with my thought. What was the last thing I said?
You were talking
We
about how
discussed
you.
not doing the grant after
We
you
were
had
not
local
doing the
bids
grant
and-
because we were seeking out local contractors. And by that alone, we think that we can do this about $100,000 under budget. Hold on, very important point here. In order for the grant to be viable, even if we were gonna use it, we would have had to spend every single penny of Tufton Borough's money first, before that grant even kicked in. And if we're gonna come in $100,000 under budget, why on earth would we spend $100,000 just to get the grant when we have determined that the grant, the benefits that we get from the grant are outweighed by the cost associated with taking the grant? It's just simply not a good decision.
So the reason I asked about the timing, I agree with the decision, and I agree with the logic train, everything you just explained makes perfect sense. You're saving the town money, it's in our best interest, which I think the taxpayers, by and large, would agree with. The problem that I have is the timing of that decision, because if it was prior to the annual meeting, and that warrant article was written the way it was, I think there might have been a fair number of people who were in the crowd that said, free money from the federal government, and that might lapse? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and approve this thing. So it was used, I feel, as a manipulative tool. That being said, I do think we have to move forward as a town. And so like I'm in this unusual position where I don't agree with the process, I don't agree with how this transpired at all. But I have to put my own emotions aside for a second and do what's in the best interest of the taxpayer and the will of people. And I do think that they're going to go ahead and approve this thing at the annual meeting. You're not going to get it from the DRA. So from my standpoint, why not go ahead and sign a letter provisionally? I want to see what the letter
And
contains.
I'd like to say, make one more statement. I believe that as elected representatives, each one of us sitting at this table, you and me, we have been elected to represent the people of the town. And I think the selectmen believe that we are doing the right thing. Even though we made mistakes along the way, we believe that we're doing the right thing moving forward.
Minor point, I'm appointed, not elected.
Fair enough.
So do you have a view on whether you will ever sign a letter or whether you will?
I certainly won't. I don't believe that it meets the criteria. However, I would strongly recommend a special town meeting. It can be convened in less than 2 weeks.
December is the earliest we can.
That's not what I read in the law.
Town clerk's already looked into it.
Okay.
She says December,
All right, then December it is.
I believe.
I'll go to the special town meeting. That will save a few months of the selectmen's concerns. But I'm not going to sign a letter that I don't believe meets the criteria for any kind of an exception.
I think that's fair.
We've got two more people that haven't given you a thumbs up or thumbs down. I believe you have 2 thumbs down, you and you. I believe you're a thumbs up, and I haven't heard a thumbs up. Provisionally a thumbs up.
Provided the letter represents the facts as they happen, then I would.
Can I give you one more issue on this thing? Okay, so I think the issue as relates to the grant is kind of a slippery slope. And so that needs to be absolutely and fully disclosed in this letter, what happened, because I fundamentally believe that,
I don't think it was intentionally used, but I think it could have been a fact.
yeah, I think people didn't really know about it, and there was enough knowledge to lay that number. And so, that was a thing. So where I am is, assuming I see a letter that is very complete and thorough, and that we've all agreed with, I will probably sign the letter. And the reason why I'll do it is not because I believe that it's an emergency or it's unusual. It's an unusual letter that's going to pass the test at the end of the day. It's because I'm going to leave it up to DRA to make that decision. And they're going to make the decision. I don't think we're going to get it. And on town meeting is very clear for money warrant articles that you have to go to the Superior Court. And you have to meet those 3 standards. And I don't think it's any way in heck, based on what I've read, that we're going to meet those standards. So,
As chairman of the Board of Selectmen, I invite you to participate in recrafting this letter.
And just to be clear,
for those who aren't going to sign the letter, can you please take the time to get your input into it? Even though you're not going to sign it, can you take the time to get your input and comments on it?
Definitely.
and just to be clear
I
now,
think I just did. But
if we
You've asked them all.
if we work and get this letter to the point where it's a harmonious letter, and we go forward, DRA says no, we still have town meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not only that, if we issue a termination notice to the contractor, very simple. This is how much money we have. You must not go over this amount because at present it is not going to be payable to you.
Yeah, we'll work on
Now, the
those
reason for that,
financial
the reason for
details.
that is that there's a good chance, I believe, that DRA may, if they're gonna approve this, it may happen in December. December may be the date that that money will last until, so that we'll wind up with sort of a continuum here, okay? And on the other hand, if we have a hiatus and it'll run between December and March, just have to try to minimize the cost escalation.
There's no choice.
That's it. That's all we can do.
The last thing I want to do, and I ran on this platform years ago, is I was not personally going to ask the taxpayer for more money to build this police station. I wanted to do it with the money that was allocated and available.
Well, you're going to be going in elsewhere with less money.
So hopefully we can leave some money in the account when we're done.
So we're gonna get, so, yeah, this needs to have a high degree of haste around it. So it needs to get people's attention and focus.
Could I ask that the electronic file of this letter be sent to me so that I can play around with it?
We got one.
I don't have it.
You didn't give me?
You got that?
No, I don't have it.
You want it via
That was a
Word?
PDF I got.
Right,
Yeah,
you want it via Word.
So can I get the,
You want it in Word?
Yes.
yeah, could I get that? Maybe everyone else should have it too.
I did.
Rob, are you available Thursday night? Bob, are you available
I'll
Thursday
make
night?
myself available, whatever we need to do. Yes.
No, I'm not. I got it.
Thursday night, I may have to either.
Let's Friday. What's your Friday look like?
I can do the morning.
Friday morning.
Friday morning.
So if everyone has their comments in by Thursday night, then Bob and Rob can meet.
I can do anytime Thursday, but not Thursday night.
So I don't wanna have another meeting, which you haven't noticed.
Yeah, you don't have to be at the meeting, it's for them to do the letter.
Or you can come to that, I mean, we have three of us, it's fine.
We can operate.
Yeah, just provide comments by email.
Does anyone else want it in Word? I can send it out.
I'll take it in a word too.
So would it be all right if I took a stab at writing a letter, that I circulated to you all and?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Sure.
if you can get it here.
Please do.
Which is correct. You can sign up our end of it.
And Bob, could I get the copy of what you are going to publish in the,
The draft?
yeah,
Well, it's in draft, yeah, I mean, it's a draft form.
I mean, I liked what you said, your summary of it was excellent.
You read that already?
No, I heard you say it, and I assume you were following your draft.
More or less.
So if I could just get a copy of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's draft, it's liable to change based on the outcome of,
So again, but again, the draft,
This is a draft of my, Buckenberg Times article.
and within that article, referenced the grant.
I think I touched off on it, I didn't get into deep detail,
No,
but it can be expanded upon if,
it doesn't need to be in deep detail, just as long as the taxpayers know that that was a decision that has been made.
I tried to include everything, I hope I didn't miss it.
Well, let me know when, and I'll be there.
Okay. Let's go. So we're done with that. Capital versus operating expenditure policy. Have the selectmen had a chance to look at that?
Capital operating expenditure policy. We've all looked at it, but we haven't voted on it, we've been, frankly, that's lower on the list than the police station right now. Which we've been just entering budget season, and this has been high priority. It's on our list of things to do, we've all reviewed it.
So what is, I think what, to your point earlier, Gary, I think we should take out the middle one.
Yeah, I think just a one larger amount.
I would do 15,000 and 3 years as the operating and 15,000 and above.
And not 25.
We can, I mean, I'm open to suggestions.
I
You
think
can ask the
25,000
chair.
these days happens just like.
No, I think you need to, I appreciate that you don't enjoy my comments, but any policy decision, one, is a selectmen's decision, but two, is subject to the next election. All policies can come and go next March. So I just don't want you confusing what we might all agree to do with what is gonna travel through time forever, or for any extended period of time, so.
I think I can respond to that. I have had a discussion with Rob. I've made it clear that this is a recommendation from the budget committee to the selectmen, and the ultimate decision is ours. But I also said that we will look at his recommendation in earnest.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm just, I'm concerned that when you're not here, I'm not here, and somebody else is here, that they just decide they don't like it.
Yeah, and they can do that. This continue, this
At least, at the very least, it's a starting point.
yeah, it's also continuation of selectmen. I think people who are smart and are capable will recognize that this is a worthwhile policy to have, and they're gonna wanna have it. It says right there, it gets reviewed every year.
Mhm.
I don't understand why anybody wouldn't wanna have it. It sets clarity as to what you're doing, and you're not being arbitrary.
No, exactly. And, for everybody that's listening, I support going forward with a capital operating expenditure policy.
Good.
Of some sort, and we appreciate the work that you put into it and your recommendation.
Thank you. Okay. Warrant article. So I'd asked for one of the things I asked was for all the open warrant articles, and what the status was and what the funding was. So, it would be good to get that on a piece of paper.
And we made a request to the trustees for that information.
Not all warrant articles go through the trustees. Most of them are updated on one of these attachments Ashley provided. But Ashley, I don't remember, there was something that.
Just looking to
about
find
the
it.
warrant articles, like the historic ones, we have not looked at yet.
You also brought up the question at the last meeting about tobacco expenditure being there.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, and we decided that it was improperly reported, and there's gonna be a journal entry to move that to where it's supposed to be.
Okay. That was one of my next questions. So it's good.
Only, the 21,000 will move out, so you'll still see the warrant article from 2025, there'll still be 25,000 in it.
No, but there's 46,000 expense.
Right, so that's what I said, 21,000 will move out.
Anything that relates to the warrant article wording will stay, but if it doesn't relate to the warrant article wording, if it's maintenance per se versus an expenditure to improve equipment, there's a difference there.
Yeah, no, I get it. So
And
I'd like to.
we're pulling out that maintenance
Okay,
item.
so it'll be good to see that when you've done it. So we can see it. And then I'd ask for the detailed invoice level for new roads, 2 new road warrant articles in the highway equipment.
Those are attached as well in your packet.
The invoice level?
Yeah, so each of these are individual invoices.
Did I get that?
Yes, it was in the packet Ashley sent.
Anybody else get it?
Yes.
Should be the last 3 pages of the budget packet section,
Got it.
after expenditures,
Okay, thank you.
of course.
Didn't see it. Okay. So do I have the two warrant articles and can I just get it for the highway department as well? Same thing for the highway department.
Rob, were you looking for that long spreadsheet from last year again?
No, I know I'm gonna get that at some point in time, I was just looking for the actual, just the detailed invoice list, so I can start to.
That should be,
Is that
the report ran at 11:17 a.m. on the 25th.
Yeah, this is, isn't this the warrant article?
That's where it's coming out, if we paid it.
No, but I'm talking about the, yeah, I do wanna see that, but I'm talking about the, roadworks department.
The
Highway
department,
department.
general operating.
The
fund.
700,000 in the operating fund, yeah, sorry, I wasn't clear. Okay, department visits, I've been emailing with with Chief Thompson. And he's trying to do it I guess you guys meet October 20th, so we're gonna try to do it the first 2 weeks of November. And I've not heard back from the police chief yet, so, any board of selectmen update?
The police department discussion was my update.
Okay. Yeah, so do we ever get about those other things? Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah, we've reached out to the solar company and they're still negotiating with the NHDES, the change in the permit.
Right.
And that's the only hang-up is the permit. We're building it on the transfer station, gotta go to DES, and they're working on that change.
And then the question was, how long for us to get the $100,000 credit? When does that thing drop out of the bottom of the barrel? We're gonna get it
I
out.
believe we're still safe. We gave them a deposit for materials, which locks it in.
Okay. And we have that on solid advice from the accountant.
And the rules,
Okay.
those are the federal rules that have been coming down. You can protect it, I forget what they call it, there's a special phrase that they use, but if you make it a 5% deposit on materials before the end of the year, you can carry it. It used to be just substantial progress, but that's very subjective. Now they actually put a number on it.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Yes. I want to speak to Selectman Ollie's comment that his comments are not always appreciated. Personally, I appreciate his comments. We've spoken on many different things in many different venues over the years. He's always explained his viewpoint. Yes, he can be very passionate, but passionate people are known to speak passionately, myself included. And I'd like that in the minutes, please.
On it, gang.
That's all right. Next meeting, when?
Oh, thank you.
A scheduled meeting, I should say, we may have the
Yeah,
next
we'll have another meeting, I think there'll be a meeting between, if you go to the meeting schedule, I am gonna be away October 14th. And that was a meeting that we had, if we needed.
Good, that's my birthday. I want to be here.
Oh, happy birthday. Just got your birthday present.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So if everybody's okay, can we cancel that meeting and just move on?
I'm gonna accept it.
Noted.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for a good meeting.
Yeah.